Riding motorcycles is not always about the need for speed. For some of us, motorcycles are a pathway to redeeming our solitude. For me, motorcycle rides are a bit of a quest. They take me to places where I can sit by myself and make sense of the chaos that I carry inside me. I was 18 when I got my first motorcycle. It was a red Yamaha Rx, a very simple 135cc two-stroke naked motorcycle. And then I rode that red Yamaha for almost 3 years before leaving India and moving to Australia. That little Yamaha was an uncomplicated little motorcycle, and I took it everywhere. But the most enduring memory of that Yamaha that I still carry with me are the evening rides I did on it during summer evenings. I've often said in my previous videos on this channel, I grew up in this town called Amritsar in the north of India in a state called Punjab, almost 30 kilometers from the border to Pakistan. And often around sunset, I would ride my motorcycle, that little red Yamaha, along the bypass towards that border. And for those of you who are not familiar with that part of the world, there's a ceremony that used to occur at sunset where the two countries, they used to lower their flags and shut the gates at the land border for the night. And around sunset, I would ride up to that border on my Yamaha. I would sit there and watch that ceremony before riding the unsealed back roads into modest little villages along the border. Back in the day, you could get that close to the border on a motorcycle. And then as I would ride through these little villages along the border, I would find a lonesome little spot in the fields and just sit there by myself with my Yamaha parked next to me. Together, we would watch the sun go down on the other side of the border into a country that was prohibited for me to travel to. But then the irony was that I would look at the birds returning to their homes for the night, gloriously unaware of the border fence that separated us humans. My motorcycle rides on that trusted little Yamaha to the border, they were extremely thought-provoking. And as I look back at them now, they always unshackle a new perspective inside me. About life, about humans, about societies, and about this whole world that we all live in. I left India in 1999 and I moved to Australia. And as life would have it, I did not own and ride motorcycles from 1999 until 2023. Now that's a long time without a motorcycle. But throughout those years, I always held on to this lingering emotion of one day getting back to a motorcycle. And like most of us, I spent my 20s and 30s in a mad rush to prove myself to the world. And it wasn't until I was well into my 40s that the fog started to lift. And even in your 40s, it's not that straightforward to let go of your follies. Wisdom comes with age, they say, but it also comes with opinions, and both wisdom and opinions, they are heavy. And in a sense, they are a burden that we carry. I gave up on motorcycles as I focused on the hustle that I needed to put into my life to survive and flourish in a new country. And when you are deep inside a hustle that lasts for decades, you often chase finish lines. It's not until you find yourself at those finish lines that you begin to look back and reflect and understand that the race you were running was a race against your own self, and that there were no podiums and there certainly were no winners. And that's why they call it a midlife crisis. It's a panic that creeps into you when you realize that you had prioritized an existence that had managed to snatch away your passion and your creativity. So it's no surprise then, right, that as we age, we turn our minds to those long-held dreams that we had dreamt for ourselves in our growing up days, but we gave up on them as adults. For me, that boyhood dream has always been about owning and riding a motorcycle. My motorcycle, metaphorically and literally, is a second chance at life and to live it on my own terms. For me, that motorcycle is an expression. On some days, my motorcycle rides, they bring out the nostalgia in me. And on other days, my motorcycle is the freedom that I so badly crave when this city overwhelms me with its noise. Whenever I'm riding my motorcycle, somewhere deep down I always think of that young boy who chased sunsets all the way to the border between India and Pakistan on his modest 135cc Yamaha all those years ago. And in that same moment, I am often overcome with this overwhelming sense of realization that I have been lucky enough to call Australia home, where freedom is a way of life, and the open roads, they are a passage to magical sunsets that make way for a sky full of stars by the time I reach home. I left a country as a clueless young man to find my own self in another country. I gave up on chasing the sunsets when I moved countries, but here I am once again, chasing those familiar sunsets on my motorcycle. And the point is, life gives us all a second chance. Just don't call it a midlife crisis and let it slip away.